Okay, so we've got a 1.7 CDTI Mokka. DPF lights intermittently coming on and off, which is a bit of a pain. So I think it's time to clean the DPF. Now, I've also done it on my X-Trail. And on the X-Trail, the lambda sensor is really easy to access. It's just up here, obviously under the bonnet, and it's dead easy to take out, and you can just pour off car, but also can be on car DPF cleaning fluid. You pour it straight into the opening from the lambda sensor, making sure not to feed it back up in the engine, and hydrolock it. Let it go down, let it sit in the exhaust for a period of time, fire the car up, and then it just heat the car, run it, and it all cleans out, and you get all sorts of interesting stuff out the back, and it works great. Unfortunately, on the Mokka, I'll show you where the lambda sensor is. Okay, so the lambda sensor is, unfortunately, almost impossible to access quickly and easily. I don't know if you can see it, I might highlight it in the video. Oh, somebody not happy. But it's right, you can just see it sticking out that way, right down there. So almost impossible to get to. However, DPFs, the way they work, obviously heat up and burn off the carbon, but they have differential pressure sensors either side of them. So if you go down to the bottom and look under the car, conveniently I've already taken it off, there's a vacuum pressure hose here, which actually goes back up to a pressure sensor back up near the oil filter, which again would be a good way to put it in, but the oil filter is almost impossible to access as well, and the actual sensors below that. So this pipe vacuum pressure goes straight into the DPF here. So just pop that off, connect a length of hose, run it to a big syringe or similar, pour this in, okay, so we've got the syringe with the stuff in. Had a little bit of a leak, I haven't pushed that on tight enough. But I've started to squeeze some of the DPF. This syringe was full, pushed it down, just gently push it a bit more. It's quite hard, to be fair, these syringes. In fact, the way I'm going to do it is hold it like that, make sure that's on, and push it into my body. There we go. Fortunately, it's not come off at that end, so that DPF is now soaking with off-car DPF cleaner. This car's been taken out and driven a short distance, so the DPF is slightly warm, which is a better way of doing it than it's stone cold when you put this stuff in. And it's just leave it for about 10 or 15 minutes. Start the car up and run it, and you get all sorts of bubbles and stuff coming out the back end, carbonised fluid, all sorts of bits and pieces. You run it till it runs clear, and that's your DPF cleaned as well as it's going to get, really, without taking it off and doing it really thoroughly. And that should remove the DPF light for a good while. So that's been left to sit in the DPF for about the last 10 or 15 minutes. Just going to pop this pipe off now. There we go. Put the vacuum hose back on. Or the pressure hose, should I say. Just put it on loosely for now. because I'll probably do this procedure twice. We'll start the car up and we'll see what happens. Really, so we'll start the car, see what the DPF light does. It might stay on, it might not. There we go. Okay, and then we just have to run the car with some throttle for a bit. Up to, 2.5. Let's have a look what's coming out of the back. Oh, exhaust to the side. Not a lot yet. Oh god, yeah, definitely. Oh, there we go. Absolutely stinks. Let's give that a bit more of a rev. Yeah, there we go. We get these bubbles and foam coming out the back. There we go. See, there's foam and bubbles and all this stuff. Ideally, you should put a drip tray or something down there, but hey, it's my drive. I'll clean it later with a jet wash. So we'll let that run for a bit. You can see how much it's smoking. And that should start to nicely clean the DPF. What can happen when you do this, actually, if you're doing it like this, you can be revving it and cleaning it all up, and it can eventually start to run clean. But if you take it for a drive afterwards, which is a good idea, perhaps take it on a dual carriageway, or if you can on the motorway, or somewhere where you can definitely use the throttle, you might still get some smoke. And it can be quite alarming when you're still driving and smoke everywhere, and perhaps cars behind and all that. But it will clear within a mile or two of driving it, and that's it really. So just give it a couple more revs and see what the fluid does. I'll probably repeat this procedure twice because this one, it's only put a litre of fluid in there, and I'm going to put another litre through at least and do the procedure twice. Just belt and braces. One other interesting thing that you can do, I've used all the remaining cleaner now. I've put, I think, just over a litre and a bit. I was wrong the first time. I thought this was a litre syringe. It's not. It's a half litre. So it's a half litre the first time, and then I put about a litre and a bit in afterwards. And obviously, each time you're putting half a litre in and you're pulling the syringe back. And interestingly, when you get to the point where the DPF is starting to be full, which is probably about a litre, maybe just over a litre and a bit, maybe a litre and a quarter, when you're pulling the syringe back, maybe just to put a bit more fluid in, it starts to pull the fluid from inside the DPF back through the tube and into the syringe. And you can just see there, let's get a better view of it. There's the tyre perhaps. See, that fluid it's black, it's horrible. So you can see it's dissolving all the carbon deposits into the fluid, which is just a good sign really. So we'll squirt the rest of that back in, put the pressure sensor hose back on, and then just run the car, and we'll see how it is. I can imagine it's going to be quite a lot more stuff coming out of the back now that we've got over a litre and a bit in there, and I would expect that would have massively cleaned the DPF. You should notice a couple of things afterwards, that the MPG goes up. I think on the X-Trail it went up by about 5, and the engine, not surprisingly, is a lot more lively in free revving and more torquey, which is pretty obvious really when you think about it, because effectively a blocked exhaust, it's choking the engine. So you're just idling the engine now with all that fluid back in actually. I would expect but you can sort of see bubbles and all sorts forming inside the exhaust. With that amount of fluid in there now, you can maybe use it as a bubble machine at a kid's party, perhaps. Joking. But it's going to seriously chuck some stuff out the back. There we go. Yeah, it's seriously bubbling now. There we go. Look at that. Oh yeah. Right. So that's what you should. That's how you should do it. Really. That half a litre that was put in before was not enough. You've got to put. You want that sort of effect just at idle. So I'm going to shut it off for a bit now. Let it stew, and then we'll run it up with some throttle and clean it all out. Okay, so you can see the weather's really taken a turn for the worse, but oh, there we go. What a mess, what a mess. So yeah, now that it's been in there for a while, seriously cleaning out, and it takes an absolute mess on the drive, but hey, it's my drive. So you need to run this for a while. You can see it's contaminated, carbonised, there's all sorts of guff in there. So you need to run that for a few minutes, get all the foam out. See, it's absolutely filthy all down here. Jet wash the drive, although the rain's going to help now, to be fair. Yeah, you get all sorts of stuff coming out the back. So that needs to dive down a little bit, and then you can just take it for a drive and burn it all out.